entertainment value, it was hard to beat OSU's game at Baylor on Saturday. But was this a loss that'll stick with the Cowboys? I'm Mike Sherman, and this is OSU Basketball with Andrea Cohen. Andrea, great game, tough loss for the Cowboys, an overtime loss at Baylor. But is this the one they're going to lose sleep over all season long?
This is one that I feel like overall you have to feel kind of good about it. The fact that it ended on a bad call is both good and bad as far as when you're looking at a loss. But it's one where if they're real close at the end of the season, this one's going to be the one they look back at that really stings if they're really close to making the tournament and they don't quite get there.
You were sitting right there when the critical call came down the pike in the second half. James Anderson whistled for a foul. Looked like Keaton Page had drawn the charge on Curtis Gerald's. Is that what you saw?
When it happened, I was right there, and you see Keaton, and he just looked planted to me. And so I was surprised, and then the whistle was late, which made it even worse because the shot was so far from going in that I think it kind of made it more dramatic. But every replay you see, it doesn't look like there was much contact there, if any at all. So yeah, it was a tough call. It was a tough call.
And by the time the Cowboys get to overtime, they're playing without Byron Eaton, they're playing without Terrell Harris, and they're playing without anybody to really stop Curtis Gerald from running amok.
That's the main thing, is that, they have some guys that could score, so you could have seen, maybe they could get the points, but just being able to stop him, nobody can really slow him down. And, he wasn't even the one hitting the shots. He was kicking out, and Tweety Carter hit the first two, those huge threes, but they hit 3 threes right off the bat, and you can't recover from that. So, yeah, I would think defensively that just kind of killed him.
On the flip side, Oklahoma State really found out one more time what kind of player Keaton Page is. Are they playing him enough?
Well, he played, 32 minutes, so I think that, that was probably a career high for him, so you could say they're in a tough spot with Keaton Page because he's, at the spot where they got a whole bunch of guys, and he's getting a lot of minutes. He's getting enough minutes to be averaging 11 points a game. But there are certain situations where you'll have, Byron runs the team better than Keaton at this point. Terrell is a much better defender at this point. James Anderson is just straight hard to take out of the game. And, Keaton can't play Obi's position at all. And so when those three guys are playing well, and especially when you have Terrell in there kind of on lockdown defense on one guy, it's just hard to get him in. So I think that's kind of going to be a struggle that they're going to have. And there are going to be some games where he gets a lot of minutes and some games where you just kind of can't fit him in. Afterwards, Keaton said to me, well, Baylor was one where I thought I would play a lot. Because I was asking him, getting used to that fluctuation in playing time seems like it would be hard. But he was like, well, I knew that this one, I knew that this would be up and down enough that I would get a lot of minutes.
On News OK right now, you can read a story, Andrea's insider on Keaton Page and sort of the impact he made both at Baylor and on the Baylor crowd. Now what are the Cowboys going to do for a post game? It looked like their last time out that they had that solved. Marshall Moses had a big game, not so much in Waco.
It's really up and down with them right now. They got the 3 guys who are the ones that are kind of capable of contributing at this point. They've got Anthony Brown, they've got Malcolm Kirkland, who's starting, and they got Marshall Moses. And Marshall Moses, came in and had the great game against A&M, but he made some really bad mistakes on offense, and he looked late to a lot of plays on defense. So Marshall didn't have a great game. Malcolm Kirkland wasn't scoring enough. Anthony Brown hit a clutch shot and got a rebound or 2 towards the end of the game and in overtime, but it's still that little committee is not, they just need more consistency out of them. And they're not getting it yet. It's not consistent yet.
Is Tang Acol ready to contribute anytime soon?
I think that the last time we talked about it, I talked to Travis Ford about it, he was saying, he's hoping maybe February. Watching a little bit of practice, it still seems like he is not quite getting where he's supposed to be yet. And he's kind of getting there, and he'll have a couple minutes where he looks really good and a couple minutes where he looks really lost. So I don't know. I feel like at this point, especially like in really kind of critical situations, they would probably be nervous about playing him a lot.
Should OSU fans look forward to him having a big impact on this season?
I think probably not this season. I think he could be really good for them in the future. He's athletic. He's 7 feet tall. In the future, I think so. But I would be surprised if this year he's able to really contribute. I really think what they want is for kind of the light to go on for Anthony Brown and Malcolm Kirkland is kind of what they're waiting for. And for Marshall Moses to continue to kind of bring that energy. But, there are nights where he just kind of can't match up inside, too.
In the meantime, as far as a post presence and inside toughness, they're going to Obi Bonello. True or false, Obi is OSU's best player?
Oh, best player. I mean, I kind of think you would have to say yes. I feel like when he was sitting on the bench with 18 minutes to go, you kind of had this feeling like, are they going to get any rebounds? I mean, he's just really doing a great job of being really physical and rebounding, and he's hitting open shots. I mean, he is shooting a much higher percentage. He is such a different player right now than how I ever thought of him in his first 2 years. I mean, I would think you would have to say close to being the most valuable guy they've got. I mean, there are a lot of pieces here that are very kind of fragile, but if you didn't have Obi, I just don't know how you would get rebounds.
You're saying all around, too, because, of course, James Anderson really has emerged this season. A guy you had your eye on from the start. Everybody did, but you're seeing the development of James Anderson. How close is he to becoming more that complete player they need him to be?
He's been really good, and he's been really good at not just taking three-pointers. I mean, he's taking the ball to the basket. He's doing a lot of good things. Byron Eaton needs to start finding him a little bit more, I think. When Byron's penetrating, he needs to be looking at the perimeter where he's got all these guys who can hit that shot, and he needs to get them a couple more shots. But he's getting there. He's really good. And he's not getting very much attention from almost anywhere, but he's really good.
Which leads into my next question. Should Byron Eaton be taking 20-plus shots a game?
I would say the way the first half was going, well, the first half of the first half against Baylor, where he was just able to get in there and finish or draw the contact and get the call, and their big men weren't kind of sinking in on him right, keep shooting. But as soon as those big men get it figured out and they're taking away your shot, you start kicking out. 21 is a lot, and 21 was a lot against Baylor. He missed 10 in a row, so I think that you're always going to have to say that he's probably shooting a little bit more. Still getting a lot of assists, but 21's a lot of shots.
Okay, the Cowboys have Missouri on Wednesday in Stillwater. They go to Nebraska on Saturday, and then Monday night in Stillwater, the Bedlam game. Andrea, what do the Cowboys do to contain the Sooners and Blake Griffin?
It's going to be some intense game planning for that, I would think, because what they've got to do is kind of try to just take the inside out of it, which is a very, very tall task. They're going to need every foul those big guys can give them, I would think. That big man committee is going to have a lot of fouls by the end of the night. It's going to be a really tough task for them.
Thanks, Andrea. That's all for OSU Basketball with Andrea Cohen, but you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day at newsok.com and every morning in the Oklahoman.